Hello, I'm Doug and this is the Taste and Sensibility channel, and today we're at Mild Melty Cheeses episode number 14, where we're looking at Shepherd's Blend from Carr Valley Cheese. So this particular cheese is not found in Liz Thorpe's book, The Book of Cheese, in her chapter called the Havarti Gateway, represented over here by Havarti. And these are milder tasting melty cheeses that have certain applications. Lots of them are very inexpensive and can just be on the table every day, every time you're getting together to eat something, and that's sort of the feel that she puts into the cheeses of this chapter. So this one I came across when I was doing other shopping on, Wisconsin Cheese Mart is one way to get to it. And this is where it came from. So I was looking at all these Wisconsin creameries and I said, hey, that sounds very melty and young. And it is called Shepherd's Blend because it's a mixture. It's made from a blend of cow's milk, goat milk, and sheep milk. And I had a little sneak taste preview, and yes, it is certainly made from those things. I can tell. So alright, open this up, already cut off a little piece, already sampled it. So let me throw it on the plate. Wow, oily. Oily, oily, oily. Sheep milk has more fat. Maybe goat milk has more fat than cow's milk. I will try to put this down as a banner somewhere. There, that'll work. I'm secretly wiping my fingers off on my shirt tail. But no one will see any of that stuff. Before we get into every little taste and aroma, let me remind you to like this video, leave questions and comments, share it with friends, subscribe to the channel, and click on that bell to get notified, because we have quite a few more cheeses to do. And if you're interested in cheese, man, you can see it. You will want to come back and see some of those. So, this is really soft. This has been at room temperature for a bit. Let it warm up out of the fridge. And it's got some stronger aromas and flavors than most of the cheeses in this group. But I tried to do a little research, looked for videos, didn't see anything. Carr Valley is a famous creamery. They're famous for bread cheese and all their different flavors and herbs and vegetables and fruits incorporated into the bread cheese. But this one did not pop up on any videos. So it's just the ad I saw when I was doing the shopping. They gave a pretty good description of it. So we will just go in and taste it ourselves. We don't need a guide. We have some experience. We are equipped. We can tell what we're tasting. So let me make a couple of these pieces smaller. And I'll give my first impressions here. It's very pale yellow, oily stuff coming up to the surface. Very wet. Pasty. Salty. Creamy dairy notes. Creamy, there's a buttery note. Milk and cream. A little tang to it. It's tangy from the mid palate on. And that's really, that's pretty characteristic of sheep milk. I think that's where it's coming from. Could be the way they make it. Like some goodies and Havartis have a little tang to it also. That is surprisingly intense. I'm trying to figure out if it's the salt or the animals. The different milks. It's hard, it's confusing because the texture says this is really young cheese. And the flavors are going, oh, this has been aged a bit. Because it's complicated. There's several things going on there. So I'm just trying to sort all that out in my mind. So I will try to set up a decoy by tasting another piece. Yeah, there's a little touch of goat in it. It's not strong, it's not offensive, it's not all that animal-y. I'm thinking it's got enough salt that is what's perking up most of the dairy notes, the dairy flavors. Then you get a little bit of something you can go, oh yeah, that might be the sheep milk tang. and the goatiness are all in there and just smushed together. There's nothing really standing out strongly other than the salt. There's plenty of salt. It doesn't need any more. Ooh, okay. Let me rinse out some of that stuff. And it's oily. It's got, what a mouthfeel. I would be shocked if this cheese didn't melt very well. So, let me go on a lower salt Triscuit with the next piece. See how it gets along with crackers. Good combination. Dairy notes, cheesy. Not so much of the sheep or tang or goat. Okay, on a piece with, I think, apricots and pistachios. Let's see how this goes. Wow. Sweetness in the fruit there. Contrasts well with the cheese. His main thing is salt and fat and mouthfeel. Ooh. Okay, that went pretty well. Let's see. Let's pick something a little more bland than the things I've had. So I'll put a little bit on this flatbread. This is pretty much unsalted. The combination is very salty and cheesy and dairy notes and some age. It might be going in the direction of a Swiss or something nuttier. The Italian Asiagos has some nuttiness or earthiness or something to it that like pushed in that direction, like a good Swiss cheese is really nutty. It's facing that way. That may be out on the edges. So I don't know how old this stuff is, but it's very high moisture and very wet. It gets pasty in your mouth. It's not a good firm texture for, if you like a firmer texture for eating or a toughness, it's not in there. But I'll try some sort of melting experiments after I check out some pairings. So I'm just sort of figuring out what I might do here. I'm going to put this on a multi-grain cracker and put on a piece of Mission Fig. There we go. Wow. No texture contrast other than what the cracker brought. So the figs are kind of smushy and dense, and the cheese is dense, smushy, wet. So the texture wasn't great, but the flavors were good. The fruit really contrasted with the saltiness of the cheese, and the dark fruit tones of the fig went well with the cheese. So yeah, I could get along with that. Next, I'm going to try a piece of fresh pineapple. Sliced very thin. It's not real sweet. It's not tart, but it's very fruity. So a little tiny slab of the cheese, a little bit of the pineapple. Let's see if this actually works. Wow, the flavor contrast is great. The texture contrast is like, what is this stuff? So it doesn't work texture-wise, but if you made the pineapple into a cube or something and had a little touch of the cheese stuck on with a toothpick, it might work out. I don't remember a lot of real crunchy pineapple, but if I'm going to taste any more, I need to cut some more. Got some weird things here. And you can see how oily and the plate and the knife are getting from touching that cheese. We're kind of in the middle of the summer and a friend grew some tomatoes. These don't have any white on them anywhere. These are nice, ripe all the way through. So I'll try a fairly juicy, ripe tomato. No salt or anything. Well, cheese is salty enough for everything, right? bright tomatoey notes. Good. A little bit of acidity, but mostly sweetness from the tomato. And tang from the cheese. I can taste different parts of it. So the cheese salted the tomato very well. Wow, that worked better than I thought. It was very juicy and wet. But the contrasts, flavor-wise and texture-wise, were great. So that's a good one. So I'm going to do a little piece of cheese. I'm going to put on a couple of dried cherries. I think they're sour cherries that have been sweetened. So let's see if that's too much or if that works out there. Flavor contrasts are great. Texture contrast. Overall texture leaves a lot to be desired. As you might guess, with the cheese that's limp and wet and soft. Okay, so I think that's enough for the pairings. I'm going to go do some melting project. Maybe cheese toast or an open-faced grilled cheese that I broil the top. So that's kind of what I'm thinking for this guy. So I'll be back shortly. Okay, I'm back with the cheese toast or open-faced grilled cheese, or I don't know what you'd call this. But the whole surface was bubbly, melting, flowing. Yeah, I'm going to try to show you the bottom, show you the grilled cheese browning on that side that was in the skillet. I put it in the broiler after it was good and melted and browned here. And the whole top was just boiling and bubbling away. So let's see. I was going to act, I'm afraid of burning myself if I ate it too soon. But I took it out. Browning didn't occur all over the top, but the bread was getting browned and dried out. So let's see how this thing is. Super cheesy, so salty, flowy, oily, fatty mouthfeel as you might expect. Flavors and textures, great. This would be good inside a sandwich with the other piece of bread, or open face, or melted onto vegetables. So many ways to use this. Or just eat it. So, yeah, thumbs up on meltiness here. So I guess we don't need any more on this episode. So again, like, subscribe, give us a thumbs up, leave comments and questions, and share it with friends. And come back for more mild, melty cheeses. Cheers!